special on the 1920s and 30s. With us today, we have 4 special guests. Let me first introduce to you, Joe Smith.
Hello.
Hi, Joe. It's a pleasure to have you. As you know, we are doing a segment today on the 1920s and 30s. What fascinates you most about that time period and why?
My answer is technology. It is because it was important during the 1930s because we had made advances in things such as the radio. The radio's advancements were being able to send out messages about things happening in the United States. They also had talk shows about people showing their point of view of laws and what's on their mind. This is an example of what a radio used to look like in the 1930s. They also used music on their radios, and this is what a little bit of it sounded like. It doesn't sound like today's music, but it was the best they had then. Another great technology in the 1930s is the traffic light. And here's a picture of my traffic light that I'm showing you. It was invented by William Potts. He was a police officer who used red, green, and amber lights in the middle of intersections so that you would have less traffic and accidents. The first place they put in these were Woodward and Michigan Avenues in Detroit, Michigan. Some other inventions in the 1920s and 30s were portable movie projectors and the jukebox. The movie projector helped with visuals to smaller groups, and it could also help advertising your products by showing it to people in a town hall or anywhere you can meet up with people.
Wow, Joe. That was really interesting. Thank you so much for sharing that information with us.
Oh, it was my pleasure.
Now that we've heard Joe's point of view on the 1920s and 30s, let me introduce to you our next guest, Juan Ramirez.
Hello, everybody.
Juan, thank you so much for being here today. As you've heard, we're doing a segment on the 1920s and 30s. Joe's point of view was technology. We'd love to hear what your point of view is.
The roaring 20s and 30s was a huge contributor to the world of transportation. Here we have a Model T. It was the car that started the movement. The Model T was affordable by the common man. The Model T was invented by Henry Ford. Henry Ford was born on July 30th, 1863. His hobbies was gasoline-powered engines. In 1903, he created Ford and the assembly line to make cars affordable by the common man. Gasoline was about 18 cents a gallon in the 1920s and 30s. And for the wealthy man, we have the more elegant and sporty Rolls-Royce at $12,900. The automobile affected the lives of Americans in the 4 major ways. Greater mobility. People could live farther away from their jobs and families. This opened up a world of opportunities for Americans who lived close to their childhood homes or jobs because they knew they would have a difficult time traveling back and forth. And it also created new jobs, including jobs at gas stations, hotels, restaurants, and jobs that previously did not exist because there was no need for them. It also made growth in industries such as steel, oil, and rubber industries are just a few that grew because of transportation. And that is all. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you so much, Juan. We're going to take a quick break and we'll be right back.
And now a message from our sponsor. Ladies, tired of drying your hair with the same old vacuum cleaner? Try Avon Shave brand new Beauty Locks portable hair dryer. It's smaller, it's faster, it's guaranteed to give you the hair you've always wanted in half the time. Beauty Locks is delicate and dainty, just like you. The dryer weighs only a pound and easily fits in your hand. Now that's beauty and convenience. With a speedy motor that will dry your hair in as little as 25 minutes, you can get gorgeous hair without falling behind schedule. Don't worry about the little ones or that pie in the oven. Thanks to an extra-long extension cord, you can move around while primping your locks. Forget those long trips to the salon and no more waiting for hours under monster machines. Avon Shea gives you an easy and speedy hairdo that will blow your man away. Get it now at your nearest Macy's.
Pepsi-Cola, it's the pot, 12 full ounces, that's a lot, twice as much more nickel too. Pepsi-Cola is the drink for you. Nickel, 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 nickel. Pepsi-Cola hits the spot, 12 full ounces, that's a lot, twice as much for a nickel too. Pepsi-Cola is the drink for you.
Welcome back. We are here. My name is Matt. Lauren wasn't feeling too good, so we're going to have me fill in for the rest of the night. Right now, we're on our third guest. Her name is Shanae. Welcome, Shanae.
Hi.
How are you feeling?
I'm feeling pretty great.
Alright. What's your spin on the 1920s and 30s?
I thought the inventions were the most fascinating things during the 1920s and 30s. Did you know the first hairdryer was the vacuum cleaner? Around the turn of the century, women dried their hair by connecting a hose to the exhaust of their vacuum cleaner. In early models, the front of the vacuum cleaner sucked air in and the back blew air out, and the hose could be attached to either end. In the 1920s, the first true hairdryer came on the market, but it was extremely large and heavy, and frequently overheated. How scary.
I know.
A man named Earl Dickinson was a very caring husband. Earl Dickinson was employed as a cotton buyer for the Johnson & Johnson when he invented the Band-Aid in 1921. His wife, Josephine Dickinson, was always cutting her fingers in the kitchen while preparing food. At that time, a bandage consisted of separate gauze and adhesive tape that you would cut to size and apply to yourself. Earl Dickinson noticed that the gauze and adhesive tape she would use would soon fall off her active fingers. She decided to invent something that would stay in place and protect small wounds. He sold the idea to Johnson & Johnson in 1924, and the Band-Aid manufacturing plant was opened. Dickinson eventually became the vice president of Johnson & Johnson. Did you know that the lie detector was invented in the 1920s?
It was?
The lie detector, or the polygraph, was invented by John A. Larson, a medical student in California. The device measured the heartbeats and breathing rate of a person in order to check whether the person was lying or not. If the pulse rate and breathing were high, then an alarm would buzz, indicating that the person was lying. I feel much safer knowing that people couldn't lie back then.
Well, thank you, Shanae, for that informative video of the lie detector. And we're on our final guest tonight. Will you guys please welcome Sarah?
Hi, everybody.
Hello, Sarah.
Hello.
Will you please explain what you get from the 1920s and 30s? What interests you?
My favorite is the trains and airplanes. And here's a picture of 2 trains.
Did you just say 2 chains?
No, 2 chains wasn't even around back then. I said 2 trains. The train was invented in earlier times, but it wasn't until the 1920s and 30s that they were used as comfort for long distance traveling. There were 3 types of passenger trains: the colonist car, the sleeping car, and the coach car. This is what a side of a locomotive looks like. The colonist car was the most inexpensive way to travel long distance. The passengers had to sit on the wooden seats and sleep on platforms that came down from the ceiling. People brought their own blankets and pillows for sleeping. They also had to cook their own meals on stoves in the back of the car, where they also had to use the stoves for warmth. There is another one, the coach car. The car was said by travelers who seek comfort and are taking short trips. It had average comfort with pillowed seats and had food such as candy, fruits, sandwiches, and cold drinks. The last car was called the sleeping car. The sleeping car was used by passengers who had to make long journeys. The seats in these cars were easily turned into beds. There were staff on board that would assist you for your comfort, and curtains that were between beds for privacy. The other thing I thought was really cool about the 1920s and 30s were airplanes. Airplanes were majorly introduced to aviation around the world from the World War I. From this, it all progressed. The development of commercial airlines began in the 1920s. People considered it to be the growth of a new industry. The airmail began. It was a successful developing industry that was prospering from aviation. Although airlines were not trusted with important materials since accidents were known to occur, but as technology advanced, so did airmail transportation. During the 1930s, there was a competition to create more efficient and improved airplanes. Many new functions were added to these planes, such as air-cooled engines, stability, and faster speed. All of these helped the transportation industry grow. And that is all that I have for transportation.
Thank you, Sarah. And this is all for tonight. Thank you for joining us, and have a good night.